You're watching the Chaos Protocol on Transplanar RPG, an all-transgender, people of color-led dark fantasy TTRPG show set in an original non-colonial, anti-Orientalist multiverse. If you like what you see, please consider pledging to our Patreon to support the show and get access to a patron-only after-show, early podcast episodes, GM notes, character sheets, and even the chance for your tabletop OC to cameo in our series. Thank you so much for watching, and enjoy. The Chaos Protocol is a dark fantasy series that may contain content that is triggering for some viewers. Content warnings for this episode include climate disaster, environmental collapse, animal extinction, apocalypse, survival and scarcity, blood, and classism. Arc 4, Episode 25. I Do Not Mourn. From Waiting for the Moon to Burn by Connie Chang. Even now, in her 50s, Samishi Ereber retains a healthy luster of the stunning beauty she must have possessed when she was younger. Her thick black hair is streaked with gray and tied into a practical bun with a single loose strand framing her face. Her neon purple eyes are gently wrinkled at the corners, and they glimmer with a sharp intelligence. Her cheekbones are high, her jaw angular, her eyebrows sharp, but elegant, as though painted on by a master calligrapher. She carries herself with a rare presence that is equal parts refinement and pragmatism. Like the rest of the survivors in this commune, Samishi Ereber wears plain clothing, nothing fancy. A cotton haori and blouse, dusty trousers, hardy work boots. If not for the way Stovall bows her head in deference and respect, you never would have suspected that this woman, out of everyone else here, could be the leader of the garden. There is also the matter of the creature that accompanies her. Floating in the air beside her head, lazily flapping its wings on an unseen current, is a glass-tail butterfly the size of a ferret. The star in the center of its gelid body glows in that same bright purple neon as Samishi's eyes. As your party approaches, Samishi turns around from her workstation, a long wooden table littered with all manner of oddities, gardening tools, a splayed-open journal, stacks of papers and hollow pads, and, most notably, countless containers all full of dust. With a faint smile, Samishi Ereber pulls off a pair of well-worn gardening gloves and tucks them into her waistband. And when she speaks, addressing all of you, her voice is clear and calm, like the surface of an alpine lake, and you see flashes of pitch-black teeth. I hope that all of you are quite all right. I could see the swarm rising over the walls and knew that there must have been some sort of trouble. A few of you look rather bloodied. Please, use this. She reaches into a cloth pouch at her waist and pulls out a spray bottle filled with some sort of clear liquid, and she holds this bottle out to your group at large. This is an aerosol sterilizer and coagulant of my own design. Nothing too complex, mostly just hypochlorous acid and platelet-rich blood plasma suspended in nanitic fluid of my own design, but it should clean and seal most surface-level wounds. That being said, if any of you are suffering from anything more extreme than that, I'm happy to take a closer look as well, though I don't see any signs of internal bleeding or tension pneumothorax from here, but I could be wrong. Here. And she looks expectantly at all of you.
Xainan looks to Lumièra the moment any mention of any offer of healing comes up, because he's not going to take anything that Lumièra doesn't at least nod about.
Lumièra kind of sits there, and you can see a ping of recognition as different things are being said. She kind of leans forward and does like a quick glance over at Nova, head to toe of each member, and over at the tiers. I think kind of like locking eyes with Zinnia for a bit. Like, y'all good?
Xainan is damp from blood.
Seir's enchanted by Samishi Ereber. There's a way she speaks and the way that she rattled off everything she knew. And her skill is palpable. This whole place is built by her, if what we've been told is to be believed. And she sounds so much like you, Lumièra. So how can Seir not be enchanted by that?
I think Zinnia looks between herself and the tears first. Her arm is bloodied, especially after the dagger for the creatures. Before she looks at Ozalis, who is definitely on the worst end of it. I think locks eyes with Lumièra again, and if you don't reach for it, she's going to reach for it first. She takes it.
You take it. Samishi offers you that gentle smile, and releases the bottle very easily. It's light in your hand, and there are other members of the tiers who look a little bloodied from the attack. No one is imminently about to die, but this spray, if it does what Samishi says it does, will definitely be more than enough to patch you all up. So, Zinnia, I assume you start patching yourself and others up, handing the spray bottle to each member of the tiers?
I think Zinnia takes a second first after spraying herself to make sure there is nothing potentially wrong. And if there is, she's willing to be the one who takes that. Waits maybe a minute or two. And
You
then
missed the parts of your body that are wounded, and instantly it feels good. Like a cool mist goes over the wounds, and you see your skin start to patch itself up in front of your eyes. Surface level wounds just braiding over themselves as you see the nanitic fluid, is what it had been called, working, bubbling almost, but not painfully at all. There's a little bit of a tickle, actually, as the last strands of fiber and skin knit themselves back together, and it's like it's as good as new. Just a few traces of outlines from where the glass tails had lapped at your skin, from where the dagger had cut in. You pass it along to other members of the tiers who follow your lead. Notably, Ozil does not accept the bottle, even though they are drenched in blood from head to tail. And eventually, the aerosol spray makes its way to strike Team Nova. Does anyone reject it for any reason, or do you all also kind of spray yourself down?
I mean, Xainan steps to it quickly. If it looks like it's working and it's safe, he wasn't a fan of feeling like he was run through fiberglass. So he is eager for relief.
And relief comes instantly. As soon as the mist goes over the exposed parts of your body, it's cool and like a literal cleansing, healing tide sweeping over your wounds. And everyone who sprays themselves can heal 1 hit point.
As that cooling feeling hits Xainan, again, since we've been here, this horrible pang comes out of nowhere. He's enjoying this. He's enjoying the garden. It is beautiful and it is so alive. And here he is being healed by a spray bottle. And he can't help but wonder if this could have saved either Pyrrha or Doxa.
When the bottle eventually makes its way back to Samishi, she places it back into her pouch and says, by way of explanation, "It's actually quite fortunate that the precise kinds of wounds that I'm addressing here are dealt by glass-tail butterflies. I had actually developed this latest version of my concoction based on observations I'd made on myself, in terms of how my companion had been affected me after its feedings."
And what's the main ingredient in that?
Usually just hypochlorous acid. The nanitic fluid is based off of nanobots of my own creation, my own design. I took something that had been patented by Lux Eco and put my own spin on it. I found the design of it to be a little lacking in some regards, so I updated it as I saw fit.
Lumièra grins just a bit. The smile doesn't meet her eyes, but she is assessing over Xainan, watching how the skin sinewing back together, and if it's coming back together in a way that she deems suitable.
Lumièra, as a very adept healer, you can tell instantly that this spray is the real deal. If everything Samishi is saying is true, that she made this herself, then she is like borderline a genius to have created this under these conditions.
Nice.
I assume you are a healer yourself, based on the interest you're taking in this.
She nods.
Well, the commune could certainly use more healers. The everyday work of simply surviving here nowadays on Kesaki is enough to take a quite heavy toll on each of our bodies.
It's a little different, but it works.
How? And Xainan can't stop looking at the plants, the pots. And he's spent all this time trying to not just blurt out the question.
Well, my latest iterations of my process, my experiments here, have been the result of a small breakthrough I've made in the past 4 years. That was about the time when I had excavated Starlight, and she gestures at the glass-tail butterfly that's kind of lazily floating around her head. Now it's kind of drifting over to each of you, not with any sense of hostility or malice, kind of just like a very curious moth. Just bopping around on the wind like a plastic bag.
Listen, Xainan loves almost every single creature. This one, he's like, no.
Yeah, you like duck away from it, and the wind that your motion creates kind of gusts it over to Zinnia's shoulder. Samishi continues by way of explanation and says, "I had excavated Starlight from the dust surrounding the garden. I used it initially to test the viability of some of my more recent experiments, and fortunately I was able to find some degree of success. Of course, at the time, Starlight wasn't exactly Starlight. It was in a state of cryptobiosis, though it is quite healthy now. As you all, I'm sure, have discovered firsthand, however, glass-tails are hive creatures. So Starlight's awakening roused the rest of its dormant hive, all of whom had also been in a tune state. I responded by locking down the commune and simply waiting out the swarm until they settled back down and re-entered anhydrobiosis. As long as they're not disturbed, they're quite docile and harmless."
And this one's not triggered by the other ones when they react?
Starlight is something of a special case. I think given the degree of success of my experiments with Starlight, it has developed something of its own, well, individuality. So it is not necessarily a strict member of the hive in the same way it used to be. I gave it the opportunity to return to the rest of its companions and settle back down into the dust, but it chose to come back. I think it's developed something of an attachment to this place.
Wow.
And the plants, the dirt.
These are the result of the efforts of my experiments. But before I bore you all too much with the details, might I inquire what you're here for and how I might be able to help?
I think Zinnia kind of gives a look to Azalis on if we want to go ask the big question first.
You don't even have to look. They're already speaking. This entire time, these pleasantries, this exchange, they had barely been able to just endure and suffer through it. And as soon as this question is asked, they cut in with no ceremony or introduction at all. Where's Buta Ereber? Samishi's bright neon purple eyes cut over to Azalis Raid. They blink. Buta. Oh, I'm quite sorry to be the one to tell you this, but Buta Ereber is dead. I killed him.
What do you mean by that?
There is, for a moment, just silence from the rest of the tiers, especially Azalis Raid. And in the silence that extends briefly, Samishi Ereber says, well, you see, my marriage to Buta was arranged. Buta Ereber is not originally from Kesiki. However, he, in a series of political exchanges and maneuvering, found himself to this planet and acquired the position of planetary lord. Even so, he wanted to legitimize his lordship in the eyes of Kesikins by marrying a Kesikin. I myself, I am from a mercantile family. And my parents, my father in particular, leapt at the opportunity to advance the political prospects of his name. You see, my father had provided quite a rigorous education for me as the eldest daughter, for the sole purpose of one day marrying a rich man, who would hopefully be a lord of some sort. So, in his eyes, this was a match made by the ancestors. Of course, the arrangement served both parties. My husband received the legitimacy he always craved, and my family became connected to a planetary lord by way of marriage. Though I myself was always more of a pawn than a beneficiary, I had no say in the matter. After the wedding, my role was done. My life's purpose was served. There was no point to me anymore. As for why I killed him, he wanted to leave. And everything began to end. When the dust, you understand. As for myself, I wanted to stay. He tried to force me to come with him, so I killed him. To protect myself. And so I could stay and protect my people. And, if I may be quite frank, because a part of me always wanted to kill my husband. There is a noise. It is a terrible noise. It is a horrible, feral, wrenching, shuddering, borderline rabid noise, like an animal in a death throe. It doesn't make any sense. It's loud, like gunshots. And you don't know where it comes from. None of you know where this noise is coming from, and then you realize the source. It's Azalis Raid. And Zinnia, this is the first time you and any of the tiers have ever heard them laugh. They are bent over. Their hands are on their knees. They're hitching and hitching like they're being possessed by a violent, vengeful spirit. And they are laughing and laughing so hard that tears are spilling out of their eyes. They're pounding a fist violently against one thigh with enough force to bruise the muscle underneath, the dust-starved muscle. And then, very suddenly, they straighten and the shotgun is in their hand and they're pointing it at Samishi.
Ozzel,
Do you
Ozzel.
physically stop them?
I will.
Xainan will step in the way.
Okay. Zinnia, Xainan, which of you gets to Ozzel first, and/or do you get to them at the same time?
I think I just shove down the actual barrel of the gun. This is not
Yeah.
the first time I've had to stop Ozzel from killing.
And
someone.
Xainan wasn't stepping towards Ozzel at all. Because at this moment, he knows that he would only make it worse if he stepped anywhere close to them. So he steps instead in the place that he thinks he would be best served to catch the bullet. Because if that trigger gets pulled, they could be killing our only hope right now.
Yeah, Zinnia, as your hand goes to the barrel of the shotgun and is just bringing it down, Xainan, you step forward, interceding your body between Ozzel's raid and Samishi Ereber, and at the same time, Stovall also steps forward protectively in front of Samishi beside you, Xainan. Seir, Lumièra, how do you react to this response?
Lumièra tries to reach out to stop Xainan because she knows what he's doing. And of course, he hasn't fucking learned his lesson yet. He wants to eat another bullet on behalf from Ozzel. So she tries to stop him, or at least reach out and grab him, but Xainan is nothing but determined. Is he not?
And fast.
That too.
There was a moment where Seir was going to leap before the gun and saw Xainan do it first, and there is a twinge in his insides, one he cannot name right now. So instead, what Seir does instinctively, so fast he doesn't even realize it, is grab his bandolier and twitch a button of the rotary gear on the radio instinctively, as if to discern the real doom of this moment, as if pulled by the red strings.
As you turn the rotary dial on your radio, now fixed thanks to the supplies you were able to scavenge from Tower 19 and beyond, you hear a little bit of static crackling to life. No words. Nothing to guide you yet. And it's also hard for you to tell if the static is audible to anyone else or if it's something for your ears only. As this action heats up, Ozzel doesn't resist you too much, Zinnia. And as for Samishi, she doesn't flinch whatsoever. She doesn't look surprised at all at this response. There is a sadness in her eyes and a kind of understanding in her gaze as well, as you feel the barrel of Ozzel's gun hitch against your hand slightly and then just give all resistance, and you're able to shove it down quite easily. And Ozzel's raid says, "It's pointless anyway. This whole thing is some grand cosmic fucking joke that the ancestors are playing on me. Of course he's dead. Of fucking course he's dead." And they wholesale just drop the shotgun from their hand. They just release it into your grip, Zinnia. And they turn around, they walk a few steps away, and they place one arm up on one of the glass walls encasing this greenhouse. And they just stare out into the dust, out at the edge of the hilltop, out at the commune sprawling out beyond all of you. But there is a vacant look in their eyes, and anyone looking at their face knows that they're not taking in what they're seeing.
Zinnia, I think, immediately sort of takes that like deep sigh and closes their eyes at the realization of how poorly this could have went, and also knowing that this is so far beyond how Azalis normally acts. There is concern there, but it's not the time to worry exactly. There's still questions to be asked.
And Xainan
The rest of the
watches
tears.
A wound that he's known is there. He can smell it like a bloodhound. He's not going to pursue it, but he knew this wound was there, and he knew the answer to the question before they ever asked it. But the other thing that really hurts is that he can source that same wound back in himself. And he doesn't ask a single question, he just steps aside. Gives Ozal space because that's what they want.
Stovall steps aside as well. And the rest of the tears, all of them looking at Ozal at this response that is very unlike Azalis' raid. They take cues from you, Zinnia. They give Ozal space. Even though a few of them look like they want to reach out and be there for them, but they choose not to. The tears carefully turn back to Samishi. Jack's gaze is the last to return, lingering on Ozal and then on Xainan, and a recognition, a realization flashing in Jack's eyes before she turns back to face Samishi Ereber, who says, "Truth be told, this is not the first time someone has come to the garden wanting to kill Buta. He was a very hateable man. One of the few things he was adept at being. Stovall here actually came to the garden for the same reason, and responded much in the same way that your friend did. She tried to kill me. But, as you can see, things ended up working out."
So, if I can ask, what is this entire setup? The commune.
Oh. Well, the garden itself is a home, a community, a safe haven for anyone and everyone on Kaseki who might want one, who might need one. You see, part of the calculus I made when I decided to stay, the decision to stay was not the hard part. It was figuring out how to make that choice feasible. I knew I needed to make a place that could sustain life, that could be a lighthouse, a beacon, a genuine space for anyone and everyone. And also a place for me to properly and pragmatically accomplish my greater objective.
Which is?
Yinghe also chimes in alongside you, Xainan. What is your greater objective? Well, to save Kaseki, of course. You see, my mission today is the same mission I had 10 years ago, when the evacuation orders first began. Find a way to make our home habitable once more. To make this dust survivable. Not just survivable, airable. And she holds up one of the containers with dust in it behind her and presents it to all of you. And you see with your own eyes, growing from the top of the dust, a green seedling. A verdant sprout that has just begun to grow a leaf.
Why are you
Samishi
doing
says, sorry, go ahead, what was that?
How are you doing this?
I'm a scientist. I received the best education that my family could afford, of course. It made me more marriable in my father's eyes, but I also taught myself as much as I could when the knowledge of book learning was not enough. I was never content with mere theory. I wanted to apply my knowledge, to see it grow in the world around me, to plant it, to water it, to nurture it. I just never had the opportunity to do so until, well, now. Ever since I was a girl, I've always loved the flora and fauna of my planet. The wind and the waves, the suns and the stars, the mountains and valleys. I love our planet with everything that I am, with everything that I have, and I refuse to abandon it. I refuse to just let it die. Even if it means I have to sacrifice everything that I am, I won't let everything and everyone around me go the same way. Because what's the point of living if that means my home dies? I am making good progress. This is one cultivar of several that have taken root in the latest versions of the dust that I've been experimenting with, but there is one major roadblock to all of this so far. Scale. You see, creating enough water to sustain a single plant, to feed a single organism is simple enough. Child's play, if you will forgive the simplistic aphorism. However, creating enough water to sustain an entire planet, well, there are engineering limitations to begin with, and beyond that, energetic constraints. Simply put, there is not enough power to make water, enough water for everyone out of nothing. I am, however, working on it, and I do think I can figure out a more efficient way to generate water if only I have a little bit more time. I think I'm close. If I had to hypothesize, I would say I am a few years out from the answer. And I've scavenged and stockpiled enough resources here to comfortably sustain the garden for at least another 3 years. 4 if we start rationing food and water. We can maybe stretch it to 5, but I would really prefer not to. I am close to a solution. I can feel it. And all of you see the sincerity, the 100% assured, unflagging confidence in her eyes. That Xainan you have seen in Pyrrha's eyes many times before.
Xainan feels like he's being played a song that he knew a long time ago. Every time she says, stay, when she was telling the story of why she killed Buta, it's a song that plays in harmony with another old song deep in his soul. She says, I refuse to abandon Keseki. That even if she has to sacrifice everything that she is to make the garden live and save Keseki, it's like the sweetest honey playing in harmony with everything he has ever wanted for Keseki. And then he hears 3 years. And suddenly discord. Because above Xainan Esch, he has never lost track of the fact that a gaping hole in the sky exists. And everything that she just said sounds wonderful, but oblivion is right there. And 3 years is a really long time.
Seir. That static crackling had been playing in the background this whole time, as you rested your sharp blue eyes on that impossible seedling. As you narrowed your gaze around, at the other jars of not just dust, but dirt, actual arable dirt and soil all around you, and you saw other seedlings like that as well, as you recognized the hope, the confidence, the intelligence and skill in Samishi Ereber. That crackling, and then it gets louder, cutting through the background to enter the forefront of your attention, and you hear a familiar voice growl. Go back. There is nothing for you here. And with it, you feel the chill. No, not just the chill. It's not coldness. It is a lack of anything, including coldness. The presence of oblivion high in the sky above you, visible even now through the translucent ceiling of the greenhouse above your head. And you are not the only person this time who hears Doom's voice. Lumièra, you hear it as well as a member of Strike Team Nova, someone connected to the Syndicate. And so do you, Xainan, and so do you, Zinnia. No one else does. However, Doom's voice doesn't sound like what it does to Seir to each of you. No, Doom is very personal. Very personal indeed. What does his voice sound like for each of you?
Fuck, what a question, Connie. Hold on.
Yeah, gee.
Jesus Christ.
Take your time to think if you need it.
Oh.
I got
Oh
mine.
fuck. Oh fuck.
Fuck.
I
hate how everybody immediately goes, got it at the same time.
I was like,
it's sick.
I'm fucked.
Every one
Okay.
of us is fucked. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Despite what
Zinnia.
you would think. Despite what you would think, it isn't Juniper's voice. There is one person who has been their sort of guiding light throughout everything. The one voice that told them specifically to help Kaseki. It's Sochi.
I knew it.
What about you, Lumièra?
I think it's Sing. Yeah, it's Sing.
And what about you, Xainan?
Xainan hears his own voice.
These are the voices each of you hear. Though the voices themselves are familiar, the words, of course, are not. And the way in which this omen is said is with a hardness, an edge, a brutality, and most of all, a deep fear that may or may not be familiar to the voice that it takes.
And you hear Nova, Zinnia, Wyatt, defeated. No, not again.
All right, Strike Team Nova and Zinnia. Hearing this omen and the voices of doom that are familiar to you, you know what it means. Deep within each of your souls, the meaning of the omen. Go back. There is nothing for you here. And the nothing looms high, but not as high as it used to. and with each passing moment growing closer and closer, larger and larger, almost imperceptibly, but it surely and steadily is. Because you're right, Xainan. Just like you, Samishi is doomed by forces that she doesn't even know are in play. How could she? She's not connected to the Syndicate. She is no agent of trans. Her timetable is even smaller than she thought it was.
He feels bad for her. It's the last thing he thought he would feel coming to this place. Between the lot that she was dealt in her life, that maybe a Xainan from before, one that had never left Haruna Valley, would have despised her even knowing that. But here and now, he feels bad for her. Because he felt the exact same way. And that voice, his voice, it's the same thing he probably should have heard before. And maybe it would have saved Doxa and Pyrrha.
What about you, Zinnia? How does this make you feel about Samishi's mission, about her hope?
Guilty, I think, ultimately. There is almost, it is like staring at a mirror to the past. A version of you that thought you could fix this all on your own. This, I don't want to say hero complex, but this desire to save something that is beyond saving, that you can help, you can make things better, but Kazuki's gone. And Zinnia knows this. And it hurts. And I think looking at Samishi too hard, Zinnia feels something in her like pang. So she tries to, I think, avoid direct eye contact with her.
What about you, Lumièra?
I think it's pretty layered for Lumièra, actually. And I think you can see, as hard as she's trying not to, I think anybody that knows her can see those layers skimming across her eyes on the surface. It's a layer of hurt mixed with understanding, guilt, and something else that's a bit harder to pinpoint right now. But it's something akin to, it's a certain type of hurt and feeling when you have this ambition that pushes you towards something to fix, and that you just know that you're able to do it, but you just don't have all the tools yet. And you don't know if you can get them in time. That, I think, is probably the most underlying feeling under all of that.
And what about you, Seir?
Times like these, that being the open speaker is so fucking hard. Every time I feel like I know myself, I'm grasping at something within myself that I accept my place, my role, what doom is. I don't. I don't. All I know is that this omen feels like despair, and I don't know what to do about it. All I know is a fear my creator won't tell me.
Your reactions stand in rather stark contrast to the responses of everyone else here, who are not able to hear this voice, who are not able to perceive the warning, not even Yinghe. Yinghe responds not because they heard the voice, but because they are attuned to you, Xainan, and to you, Seir, and to you, Lumièra, and they can feel that something happened. Something, once again, invisible had passed between the three members of Nova that Yinghe had not experienced, whether it was grief or, in this situation, doom. But Saral has her notebook out. She's had her notebook out this whole time. She's furiously scratching away, sketching the plants, taking rapacious notes on everything Samishi is saying. Her eyes behind her glasses bright and glimmering, full of hope and excitement. And Dr. Wu is stepping up to one of the nearby workbenches and has picked up a container of dirt, looking at the sapling inside and marveling at it. And Samishi is in the midst of saying to Dr. Wu, "Oh, pardon me, but are you Dr. Yvonne Wu?" And Dr. Wu blinks at this woman, recognizing her, and turns to her and says, "I am. I'm sorry, Miss Ereber. I don't believe we've met before." No, we haven't, but I've been a fan of your work from afar for some time now. You're a very, very talented climatologist. Many of your essays, your journals, the articles and research you've published have directly influenced much of my work here. It is an honor to meet you in the flesh. I'm glad to see that you're alive and well. I thought I had heard a report from one of the radio towers before the arrays went down that your family had made it off-world on one of the shuttles. I'm surprised to see you here. Is your husband here as well? No, he is not. I see. My condolences. Though that does bring me to my next question. Was there anything else that you all came here for, aside from killing my husband? And at that, Jack leans into you, Zinnia, kind of looks at you rather urgently, and mouths, "The shuttle."
I think Zinnia nods her head in like a no, yeah. I actually did have one more question.
Please, by all means.
So, to get off planet, we need a shuttle of some sort. And we were doing archival work and we were planning on... She just pauses for a moment. Borrowing Buddha's shuttle. Do y'all happen to know where it's at?
Buddha's shuttle? My husband's... Yeah. There's a moment as she pauses, thinking, and then her eyes light up. Oh, you're referring to the G384 Nomad 4, yes? The one
That's
Buddha
the one.
owned 10 years ago or so. Oh, yeah. Well... And she gestures broadly around at the greenhouse, and also beyond the greenhouse, at kind of everything around you. You're looking at it. We took it apart years ago. That's how any of this is possible. And you all think, as Samishi is speaking, you think and you look and you recollect and you see the huge panes of glass that are everywhere, the solar panels, the wiring, the electrical components, the force field. The materials used to patch up broken down parts of the outer wall, the brand new structures made from aluminum and tarpaulin and fiberglass that have been erected all around you. It has been crouching in plain sight all along. The shuttle is all around you. And at this point, the reality of what Samishi Ereber is saying truly and fully sinks in, because there's no way off of this planet. And there hasn't been for a long time. All of you are stranded here on Kesiki. And oblivion is coming closer. And we're gonna go to break there. Okay, friends! We are going to be back in just about 10 minutes. Enjoy our sponsor reel and take a break. Stretch your limbs, get some water, eat some food, drink some drinks, use the bathroom, stretch your body, do what you have to do. We'll be back in just about 10 minutes to finish out the episode. Bisho. Howdy, Transplay Nerds! It is, once again, Sponsor Connie time. Arc 4 is proudly sponsored by Hero Forge, a website where you can design and print your very own custom miniatures. But you already knew that, didn't you? Because the spectacular Hero Forge has sponsored us every single arc so far. We've stuck together through all sorts of exciting updates, like Hero Forge Pro, statuettes, color-printed plastic, premium plastic, but now, it's time. It's time for one of the most exciting Hero Forge updates ever. Custom dice. Hero Forge is now offering 3D printed custom dice, where you can put literally anything into the clear material of the die. Each die is printed in the same layers as the item or character bust inside of it, resulting in a solid, perfectly weighted chunk of math rock. You decide the size, color, and shape of your die, the size and color of the numbers on top, and, of course, what the die contains.
Put a frog in it.
Don't die-lay. Visit bit.ly/transforge to design your very own custom miniature or custom dice today. Hello, Transplay Nerds! It's your favorite part of every Chaos Protocol stream. Sponsor Connie time. For Arc 4, we are thrilled to partner with the Working Families Party, a progressive third party in the United States building a multiracial coalition of working class people to make our communities a better place to live for everyone. The Working Families Party is fighting for universal healthcare, taxing the rich, and higher wages. If you're in the US and you want to make a difference in your community, I highly recommend checking out the Working Families Party and getting involved with your local chapter. In fact, let's take an action together right now to sign a petition by the Working Families Party to break up big media companies. This petition means a lot to us as indie actual play performers telling authentic stories, fighting censorship, and resisting authoritarianism. Go to bit.ly/WFPtrans and add your name to the list. By signing this petition, you will join the Working Families Party's mailing list and receive opportunities to help them organize, educate, and fundraise. Let's build a better future together.